The alien nurse gave me the wrong injection, then locked the door and said, "No one will HFY." The human envoy lay on a narrow medical bed, his arms resting at his sides, eyes open as he stared at the curved ceiling above him. Soft blue lights pulsed slowly, matching the steady rhythm of the station's artificial gravity. Thin machines hummed near his head, translating his heartbeat and breath into alien data streams. His name was Evan Cole. He had been sent here as part of a diplomatic exchange, nothing dramatic, nothing heroic. Humanity was still new to the Union, still considered fragile, emotional, and unpredictable. Evan's role was simple: observe, listen, recover from minor injuries sustained during a shuttle malfunction, and then return to Earth with reports. At least, that was the plan. The doors to the medical room slid open without a sound. An alien nurse entered. She stood taller than Evan, her long frame wrapped in a pale silver uniform. Her skin was smooth and faintly translucent, shifting colors under the lights like polished stone beneath water. Large, dark eyes blinked once as she consulted a floating data screen. "Patient Evan Cole," she said, her voice calm and melodic through the translator. "Your recovery remains within acceptable parameters. A stabilizing injection will complete your treatment." As she prepared the dose, Evan noticed something odd. The door behind her slid shut. That wasn't strange by itself. Medical privacy protocols existed across the Union. What caught his attention was the sound, a deeper, heavier lock than before. Not the standard soft seal, but a full mechanical engagement. He shifted slightly. "Is that normal?" "Yes," she replied smoothly. "This room is now isolated to prevent neural interference." The nurse withdrew the needle and stepped back, her eyes fixed on his face. She didn't look relieved like medical staff usually did. She looked focused. Then she raised her hand and tapped a control on her wrist. The lights dimmed. Evan frowned. "Hey, no one will check on you for hours." He could hear the faint vibrations of machinery inside the walls, the distant hum of engines far beyond the medical wing. He blinked, once, twice. The nurse took a step back. "That's not correct," she murmured. Evan pushed himself up on his elbows. He should have felt weak, sedated. That was how these injections worked on most species. Instead, his thoughts felt clearer than they had in years. "What did you give me?" he asked calmly. The nurse's breathing quickened. "Remain still." "You locked the door," he said, not accusing, just stating a fact. "You injected me with something that wasn't standard treatment." The nurse froze. "Sit down," she ordered, her voice tighter now. He didn't. Instead, he took a single step forward. The gravity felt different around him, not weaker, not stronger, just easier to move through. "You expected me to be unconscious," he said. "Yes." Finally, the nurse spoke. "Humans are classified as adaptive organisms, death-world origin, unstable potential. Diplomatic immunity delays oversight." Her words came faster now. No one would have questioned a complication. The nurse glanced at her wrist again, panic creeping into her posture. "The system should have flagged this. The compound destabilizes neural pathways." He wasn't a soldier, he wasn't enhanced, he was just human. "I'm the one who's walking out of this room," he said. He stepped toward the door. The nurse raised a hand, then stopped herself. "Security will come," she warned. "I hope they do," Evan answered. He placed his palm against the sealed door. The metal was warm. He pressed. The lock disengaged with a sharp click. The door slid open. The nurse stumbled back, her expression a mix of fear and awe. Evan paused at the threshold, looking back at her one last time. "You should report this," he said, "before someone else gets hurt." For the first time in her career, she understood a terrifying truth. Humanity was not fragile, and someone had just made a very big mistake. That was the first thing the station's sensors failed to understand. As he walked through the curved corridor of Station Kepri 9, his pace was steady and unhurried. The lights above him reflected softly off white metal walls, and the hum of distant engines vibrated through the floor. To anyone watching from a monitor, he looked like a normal human envoy leaving a medical checkup. But inside Evan's body, everything had changed. His heartbeat was calm, too calm. His thoughts moved with sharp clarity, as if a fog he never knew existed had lifted. He could feel the station around him, tiny shifts in gravity, pressure changes in the air, even faint electromagnetic pulses from security systems hidden in the walls. He did not know how. He only knew it was real. Behind him, in the sealed medical room, the alien nurse finally regained enough control to activate her emergency signal. Her hands trembled as she sent a silent alert through restricted channels. Test subject active. Unexpected response. Request immediate containment. The system acknowledged the message. And then, quietly, it began to watch Evan. Evan turned a corner and slowed as he noticed something strange. The corridor ahead was empty, yet the lights dimmed slightly as he approached, shifting into a pale yellow hue. That color was used only during controlled movement protocols. He stopped. A soft voice echoed from unseen speakers. "Human envoy Evan Cole, please halt and remain where you are." It was a lie, a simple one, but Evan felt it instantly like a wrong note in music. He raised his hand slowly, not in surrender, but to show he wasn't hostile. "I'm not armed." Energy restraints shimmered faintly between their hands. Evan studied them. They were not soldiers. They were peacekeepers trained to subdue, not destroy. Good, he thought. One of them stepped forward. "You have deviated from authorized recovery protocol. You will return to the medical wing." I was released. The corridor lights flickered. The security units froze. Evan blinked in surprise. He had expected resistance, pain, something. Instead, nothing. "I didn't do that," he said quietly. The units recalibrated, their systems whirring softly. The second restraint activated, stronger, denser. Again, it failed. Evan felt a gentle pressure, like a breeze, then nothing. The units stepped back. "This is not possible," one transmitted. Evan lowered his hands. "I agree. Administrator, I was injected without consent. Your species is not fully understood." The moment they crossed a certain distance, the station reacted. Lights dimmed sharply. A low warning hum echoed through the walls. Screens flickered to static. The units froze mid-step, their systems overwhelmed by feedback they could not process. Evan felt it clearly now. The compound wasn't just absorbed. His body was adapting, not aggressively, not violently, naturally. "I don't want to hurt anyone," he said, his voice calm but firm. "Let me leave this wing." As he moved deeper into the station, messages spread across restricted channels. Human resistance exceeding projections. Deathworld adaptation confirmed. Containment priority elevated. In a control chamber far above, a group of administrators watched in growing unease. "He is unarmed," one of them said. "And yet, he is simply moving. That's the human." Footsteps approached behind him, lighter, uneven. He turned. It was the nurse. She looked smaller now, her confidence gone, her uniform slightly disheveled. Her eyes met his, filled with something close to regret. "I tried to stop the alert," she said quietly. "I failed. And because some of us were afraid of what humans might become. I came to build trust." Humanity was not a variable to be tested. It was a force that adapted and remembered. And the galaxy was no longer prepared for that reality. Evan Cole felt the shift before anyone announced it. The station's alarms did not grow louder. They changed tone, slower, deeper, more controlled. That sound meant authority had taken over. Not panic, not fear, decision. Across Station Kepri 9, bulkheads sealed in stages. Civilian areas were gently redirected, not trapped, not threatened. The administrators were being careful now. Careful meant they were afraid of making a mistake. Evan stood at the center of the observation deck, hands at his sides, shoulders relaxed. The stars outside burned cold and distant, uncaring to politics or experiments. Around him, security drones hovered in a wide circle, keeping distance they did not understand but felt was necessary. The alien nurse stood several steps behind him. She had not been restrained. That alone spoke volumes. Administrator Threxel has activated a council override, she said quietly. A temporary tribunal. They will speak to you directly. Good. You stand accused of destabilizing a Union facility. You disabled restraint fields without effort. Threxel raised one clawed hand. This council is not here to debate philosophy. We are here to prevent escalation. Not because I was dangerous, because you were curious and afraid. She speaks, Evan continued, because fear thrives in silence. Because I believed the data mattered more than the individual. Connection. His presence wasn't forcing systems to fail. The station was adjusting around him, its fields bending subtly, trying to harmonize with something it had never encountered before. I'm not a weapon, Evan said. I'm a signal. Then you will be escorted to containment until transport can be arranged. Define those terms. You just didn't expect consequences. Another counselor spoke, quieter than the rest. If we deny this and humanity learns anyway, the damage will be far greater. Report, Threxel demanded. A technician's voice cut in. Administrator external vessel just exited jump space. Human design, no weapons charged. Play it. Even when we don't know it. You wanted containment. It was already inside, standing calmly, refusing to be smaller than it was. And whatever came next, there would be no going back. The UNV Resolute did not approach the station aggressively. That alone confused the Galactic Council. The human ship held position just beyond standard docking range, its engines quiet, its weapon systems inactive. It waited, not like a predator but like a witness. Inside Station Kepri 9, tension settled into something heavier than fear. Reality. Evan Cole stood on the observation deck, hands clasped behind his back, eyes fixed on the distant shape of the human vessel. For the first time since the injection, he felt tired, not weak, but aware of how much had changed in such a short time. The nurse stood beside him, silent. Administrator Threxel appeared again as a full projection, his image larger now, more formal. The council chamber was no longer divided. All members were present. You did not signal them, Threxel said. No, Evan replied. We didn't plan this. You destabilized an entire station without intent. And we are considering compliance. This program was not meant to continue. No armed personnel will deploy unless threatened. You will act as intermediary. Behind her were two officers, not soldiers but diplomats. Her eyes found Evan immediately. You look fine, she said. I feel different, Evan replied honestly. She studied him for a moment, then nodded. We'll talk later. We're here because one of ours was harmed. Further denial would be unwise. The program will be suspended. He's right. Because strength doesn't need to prove itself. This won't erase what happened. We'll make sure of that. They were listed as partners. On the ship's observation deck, Evan stood beside the glass, watching the station shrink into the distance. You could have done more, Hayes said quietly. Forced them. Humanity had always been this way. Fragile when tested alone. Unbreakable when tested unfairly. As the stars stretched ahead, one truth echoed across the galaxy.